So something that I hear from people time and again is, gosh, I'm in a relationship and it's pretty good, but is it actually the relationship I'm supposed to be in? Should I stay with this person long term? Am I actually happy? If you find that this applies to you, then watch on, because I have a couple insights that might be worthwhile. So if we haven't met before, I'm Kay, I'm an ecstatic life coach, and if you haven't yet, please hit subscribe as well as the bell next to it to be notified about future videos. Now let's be real, relationships are hard, and knowing how we actually feel in a relationship can take quite a bit of work. I know there's the old adage that there's no such thing as a perfect partner, but in my experience, we can actually get pretty damn close if we know what we want, we know what we need, and also we be real about where we actually are. So let's start by taking stock of our current situation. Say you're in a relationship. How do you feel most of the time? Just like broad level overview. Are you feeling happy, contented? Are you worried a lot? Are you doing a lot of questioning? Does it feel right more percentage of the time, or do you feel like you're not so sure more of a percentage of the time? Now, if you've got major other life events happening, like a change of career, the loss of a loved one, something going on with your parents, like that might be really hard to tell because other things are influencing you. But if we just take a moment and pause and examine the course of our emotions over days and weeks and months, maybe even years, what is the general pattern that starts to emerge? So even before going into any deeper or more psychological or buried stuff, just broad level, high level overview. How happy are you really? How is your mood really? Are you feeling contented, satisfied, joyful? Or are you always wondering what else is out there? Always wondering if this is right for you? Feeling discontented? Like, let's just start there. While of course not everything's always gonna be roses and sunshine and kittens and unicorns flying out of your butt, we generally want to be fed and happy by the people that we are with. And if we imagine life like the battery in a hybrid car, it's always either being charged or it's being depleted by being used. Is this relationship charging your battery, or is it draining it? Because it's really quite important that our primary relationships in life feed us, they give us life, and ideally that's mutual, that the people we're in relationship with are also feeling fed, that it's a synergistic experience, that you both are better for being together. So notice at the end of a day being together, are you feeling more alive, more joyful, more happy, more full, or do you feel like you've been giving and giving and giving and being drained and a little tired? So that's step one. If you answered in the positive and things are feeling good, excellent. Let's move on to the next phase. Now we're going to start to get into a little bit of a deeper sort of analysis of this. So I think it's important that you take some time, sit in meditation, sit in quiet and stillness, observe your thoughts, observe your breath, sit there for a few minutes. And in that place of stillness, ask yourself, is this what I want? And notice, how does your body respond when you ask that question? Do you feel inside when you ask that question a rush of joy, or a sense of elation, or a sense of opening or tingling? Or do you feel a sense of closing down, a sense of tightness, a sense of restriction or blockage? And if you feel it later, no worries yet. It might just be a reflection of what's temporarily going on. We want to create space to give room to our subconscious, to our deeper levels of mind to voice their feelings. Because when we ask our deeper intelligence to show up, when we ask our gut reactions, our sacral reactions, our heart reactions, they'll tell us, but we just have to get quiet enough to listen. So what is your body saying when you turn within? Does it say, yeah, I like this? Does it say, not so much? Does it say, I don't know yet? And that's perfectly all right as well. Emotions and the mind are notoriously tricky and fickle things. We all know they can fluctuate wildly from day to day, hour to hour, sometimes even minute to minute. But over time, there should be some coherency in our emotional story. We should feel like there's a general way in which we are responding, in which we are feeling. And if we are always finding that our deeper sense, our body reaction is in the negative, that's not so good. So are you taking time to tune within and really listen to what your corporeal feelings are telling you? A third and more logical way to approach the idea of, is this the relationship that I should be in? Is it meaningful to me? Is to sit down and write down a list, or actually 3 lists of your needs, your wants, and also your deal breakers regarding a relationship. In the first column, get honest about what are the things you actually need. You need somebody who is emotionally aware, somebody who has integrity and is honest, someone that's loving, someone that you're attracted to. Maybe they make you laugh or you have good chemistry. All of our needs lists are going to be different, but those are some that are common to me and I think a lot of people. The next column are your wants in a relationship. Things that you would like, but you don't necessarily have to have all of them. Like maybe it's somebody who will cook you breakfast every Sunday and bring it to you in bed. Maybe it's somebody who has a great relationship with their parents. Maybe it's somebody who has a passion for gardening and loves dogs. I'm kidding, that last one is actually a need. That goes on the first column. I tend to think really specific minutia things go here. The things that, yeah, it'd be nice, but things like, oh, I'd love a partner who exercises 7 days a week. Well, is that really, because the need is probably they're healthy and take care of themselves and take care of their body. But the want might be that they have a specific regimen. Or the need might be it's a partner I'm attracted to, and the want might be in this relationship my partner is a certain body type or a certain height or something specific like that. As you examine and re-examine these two columns of needs and wants, don't be surprised if items flip-flop between the two. It's very common for something you thought you needed to become actually a want, and something you thought that was only middling important actually is critical to the happiness of your relationship. And the process of discernment between those two categories might actually help you clarify if you are getting all your needs met. Because if they are actual needs, then they are not negotiable. And if you discover that you have items on this list that your current partner is not giving you, or reflecting on an ex they didn't give you, then it may be a sign that they need to do better and they need to help you get your needs met, and you for them, or maybe it's time to move on. The third list is similarly non-negotiable. Deal breakers. If somebody does this, we cannot function in a partnership. For me, those things include lying to yourself or to other people, being abusive, mentally, emotionally, physically, or spiritually, destructive drug use, smoking, a certain threshold of uncleanliness. There's certain things where it just says, I can't be in that environment. Not being a spiritual person or not being emotionally aware or inquisitive about life, those are deal breakers for me. So get real about these three lists and then see how this relationship fares. A fourth way that you can examine if this relationship is right for you is to notice how is everyone else in your world responding to this partner. Are the reactions generally favorable? Are people saying things like, oh my gosh, you're so lucky, this person's so right for you, I couldn't imagine somebody better, you seem so happy? Or are people remaining silent or holding back words? Now, this is of course not to say that everyone in your sphere is going to be supportive and wonderful, but what is the general consensus? Because sometimes other people can see things a little bit better than we can, especially when we're in the thick of pheromones and passion and being swept up in the chemicals that come with romance. Because love and madness, not so different. They're more or less the same sort of state. A fifth tool, but maybe one that's a little bit more difficult, is to sit and recall the instant you and the significant other connected. I'm a big believer that if you had enough knowledge, you could look at the seed of any plant and just by looking at the seed, determine what sort of vegetable, fruit, tree it would grow into being. So too, I think it's possible to look at the impetus moments that spawn a relationship, whether that's a friendship, a work situation, or a romantic partnership. How and where did you connect? Did the world burst with rainbows? Did you find a $10 bill on the ground? Were you surrounded by feelings of love and ecstasy? Were there a lot of challenges, miscommunication, misdirection? Was there violence? Was there discomfort? I think if we're real and take a step back and examine how did those first few moments unfold, we'll see a little bit of a blueprint for how the structure of our relationship would end up being constructed. The first few moments, the seeds of any interaction, any new job, any relationship can often show us the sort of plant that it sprouts into. So if you want to know how the relationship is going, sometimes it's worth looking back at how it first began and what that tells you about them and yourself. The last and final tool that I'm going to give you to know if this is the relationship that you're supposed to be in is to just simply ask yourself the question, could I imagine being anywhere else and imagine myself being genuinely happier? Is it possible that something more exists out there for you? Now, I'm not going to say this is everyone's story, but with me and my husband, I legitimately believe that he is the greatest human being I've ever met, that there is no one on the planet who could make me happier, and that he is the greatest man I've ever known. Every day, I count myself blessed beyond measure to even just get to be in a room with him, let alone be his significant other. I'm not saying you have to have the exact same level of fascination with your partner like I do, but I want you to feel blessed in your relationship. I want you to feel like you're so lucky to be there. And a very simple and effective tool to determine if you feel that way is to just ask yourself honestly the question, if there were no agreed upon parameters of how this relationship were supposed to continue, and I were only looking at today, would I still choose to be in this relationship? If I didn't have to abide by any agreements and it was just about today, would I want to be here right now? and be honest with yourself when you hear the response. I have heard from many successful partnerships that have gone on for decades that one of the ways they keep it fresh and exciting and committed is that every day they ask themselves the question, do I choose to be here today? And not worry about tomorrow, not worry about next week, but just today. Do I want to spend more time with this person? And if the answer is yes, hallelujah. If the answer is no, then I think you've got some talking to do, either to yourself or to your significant other. I hope these steps are practical and useful for you. I know for myself, these tools had become game changers as I started to use them back when I was dating and single, and then eventually found the partner of my dreams. I wish you wild and happy romance, because being with somebody we adore is important for our mental health. At our core, we are social animals. We evolved to be in packs, to thrive in community, and there's no one more important than our significant other. A study by Harvard on happiness that has been going on for decades showed that the thing that was most important for a happy life wasn't money, wasn't fame, it wasn't success. It was, how happy are you with your significant other? A happy primary relationship often correlated with long-term health, well-being, and life satisfaction. So why would you settle for anything less? I'm Kay, this is Ecstatic Self, and I wish you a vibrantly happy love life. And if you want a great resource to help you in your relationship and your work on yourself, check out my book, Journey to the Ecstatic Self. There are a lot of great additional resources in there to help you. Thanks for your time.